Section 55 of the Nigeria Tax Administration Act provides generally on tax refund. If you are conversant with the Nigerian tax regime, you will understand that the issue of refund has been such that has undergone many developments. Prior to 2007, we didn't even have any provision with respect to tax refund. But the now repealed FRS Establishment Act of 2007 brought the concept of refund into our taxing regime. What has the new tax regime done regarding tax refund generally and specific to VAT refund? That is going to be our subject of contemplation for this discussion, and my name remains Oladejo Adeyemi. I am that business coach who has dedicated his time to reading the tax law so that you don't have to spend as much time. Let's take a deep dive. Refund generally, you have the provision for refund in Section 55 of the NTAA, and that section provides that an audit should be carried out. The section again also mandates that the refund should be granted, within 90 days, and all of the other generic provisions relating to tax refund. Notable among some of those provisions is a very good development. The option created that such refund, once established by the tax authority, can now be used to offset other taxes. If you check subsection 3, you would see verbatim, quoting verbatim now, that any tax refund due shall be made within 90 days of the decision of the relevant tax authority made under subsection 2, with the option of a set-off against any tax liability of the taxpayer. So regardless of the tax type that gave rise to the refund that has been validly established by the tax authority, the law is that the taxpayer now has a choice or option, as the law rightly puts it, to set off that refund against any other tax liability that the taxpayer may have. Now let's go to where it gets interesting, specific to VAT. If you check the following section, which is section 56, then specifically provides for the issue of VAT refund. Now recall that we've done previous videos in the past explaining the input-output mechanism generally, and also specifically providing clarification on what has happened with respect to this new tax regime. So because the VAT input deductibility scope has been expanded, chances are that some taxpayer, in fact, a lot of taxpayers, especially those ones that have operations within items that have now been categorized as zero rated, will now be in a credit position where their output VAT possibly may be higher than the deductible input VAT, and therefore they would be in a position to claim, to have VAT claims, such that they will have to put in for refund. Or those that are even going to be perpetually in a refund position. There is something very interesting in the tax law that you need to pay attention to. The law first requires that such refund claim must be made within 12 months. This is section 56, subsection 2, that the refund referred to in subsection 1 shall be made not later than 12 months after the transaction giving rise to the refund. Otherwise, it shall lapse. What that means is that when you are in such position as a taxpayer, you need to keep track of the originating transaction, the date of the originating transaction, from where that refund, that VAT refund has emanated, and ensure that it does not go beyond 12 months. Because if it does go beyond 12 months, you will lose the right, not may now, because it's a specific provision in the law. You will lose the right to be able to apply for the refund. Where it gets even more interesting is the fact that the tax law provides that where a valid request is received from a taxable person, the service shall not later than 30 days of the receipt of that request refund the tax to the taxable person, or the amount shall be eligible for set-off against any tax liability of the taxpayer. What does this mean? The days of endlessly waiting for the response of the tax authority with respect to VAT refund, those days are gone. The law says the service now has up to 30 days. That if after 30 days of you validly making the claim on VAT refund in the manner prescribed by the service, and you have not heard anything from the service, your refund is eligible for set-off. That VAT refund is eligible for set-off against any other tax liability. Are we now in the regime where such taxpayers that are in a perpetual VAT refund position can then use that VAT after application for their refund to offset CIT, withholding tax, and any other tax type, even stamp duty? These are new days that are upon us in our country, new taxing regime, interesting provisions, and my goal is to ensure that all of the nuances relating to these tax laws are brought to your attention as a business owner, and you will not have to spend as much time reading the tax law as I already did. Till I come your way again, don't stop sharing, don't stop liking, don't stop subscribing and following, because this is the only way we can have an educated community when it comes to tax and regulatory affairs. I remain Oladejo Adeyemi, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye for now.